Wednesday here on Dom's Corner. I am, of course, your host, Dom Martino, and I want to thank everybody for joining today. Um, obviously, we did not do the show yesterday as we were supposed to, and I want to apologize about that. Um, Something else I want to apologize about is the fact that today is typically the movie review day. However, I've been having a tough week, so I don't want to do that, and I know that probably sounds pretty selfish of me. But the fact is I haven't had the time to watch Kingsman this week, and I know that's the movie I'm supposed to be reviewing. And when I do review Kingsman, I want to give 100% of what I can. So we're just going to flip flop it for the week at least. And Saturday will be the day that I review Kingsman. And, that's all fine and dandy because there's been some news that's been just kind of piling up that I would much rather get to here today. We got a announcement about the Obi Wan Kenobi series. We have another announcement about Mandalorian season 3. So that's interesting. Also, we have a Death on the Nile trailer that we have to talk about. We also have Zac Efron being cast in Three Men and a Baby. So all this fun stuff that we could talk about here already. So today will be the news day, and that's what we'll do today. And on Saturday we'll do a review for Kingsman. So anyway, thank you guys for joining as always. Again, I'm your host, Don Martino, so please like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and leave your feedback in the comments below. Also, I'll be leaving my Twitter and Instagram in the description below, so be sure to follow me there. Okay, early in the morning here on Dom's Corner, and we're going to start by, well, you know what I heard was this, I heard that they actually casted female for this Cassian Andor series that's supposed to be coming to Disney Plus, which is something I haven't really been able to talk about much. And I'm sorry, I'm calling her a female. Just got like I'm not really gonna go into the actress because I have no idea who she is. I got to be honest with you. Like I can look up her name, but I don't think I've ever really seen her in anything. So it would just be weird for me to sit here and tell you guys what I think about this casting choice when I don't have an opinion on it because I have no idea who she is. Like I've maybe have seen her in like small roles, but I don't have a big enough resume to really go into the casting decision. But I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about what I think about a Cassian Andor series in general. Now that it seems like it's moving forward, because it's it's been a while since we've heard anything in terms of movement on this thing, and so the fact that it's going to move forward, first of all, is really cool, because that it's one of the series I'm actually most anticipating. One of the things that I personally complained about coming out of Rogue One was the underdeveloped characters. Now, I liked the character of Cassian Andor in that movie very, very much, but the thing is with that is he still felt slightly underdeveloped. Like he's kind of running through. This is the way we get introduced to him in the movie. Just seems very abrupt. And now I get it. Like the characters in Rogue One are supposed to be disposable anyway, right? And by the way, guys, for those of you just who are watching the video, I do apologize for the shaky camera today. I That's a long story, but we'll be back to the better camera on the next show. Um, it's been a stressful week, guys. I'm sorry. I've had a lot going on. But anyway, going back to this Cassian thing, I actually think Cassian Andor as a series is a really great idea because when we get introduced to him in Rogue One, when you think about it, it's so abrupt and he's just kind of like running through already on a mission. So I think, I'm speculating, but I think that the plan for Disney and Lucasfilm here is to develop Cassian Andor, kind of introduce him to who he is. How did he get matched up with K2SO? I think we know that Alan Tudyk is going to be in this series. I don't have a fact checker, but I'm pretty sure that he is returning to play K2SO, and I'm pretty positive it has been said that this series will kind of dive into how Cassian met K2SO. And I think that's a really, really good idea for a start, but I think that the end game needs to be to lead into the moments uh, that we saw him in Rogue One. I think that'd be a really cool way to end the series as a whole. And I actually think we could do multiple seasons with the Cassian Andor. And the thing that fascinates me about Cassian is that, if for those of you who don't know, is that he was a separatist. So the fact that he was a separatist once means that he's kind of switched sides, and if he's switched sides over to, excuse me, if he has switched sides over to the rebellion, like how did that happen, right? So what did he went from bad guy to good guy in two different, given like two different eras, but once we crossed into the age of the rebellion, he decided to be a rebel, as opposed to when we were in the age of republic, he was separatist. So it just makes me really wonder how he crossed over to that side. So I think that's one of the things that we can get out of a Cassian Andor series. Anyway, guys, are you excited for a Cassian Andor series? Can you not care at this point? If you don't, I can understand, but trust me, I think that it will help develop his character much further, and I think that'll be excuse me. So yeah, I think I think it'll lead into that moment that we first saw him in Rogue One. I think that's kind of the end game here, and that's where they're going to end the show. So anyway, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of a Cassian Andor series. I'd be really curious to hear that. Moving on, we have some more news in the Star Wars world, and that is Obi Wan Kenobi series announcement. Now, I actually think this is really exciting. So, to preface this, for those of you who don't know, when we first heard about this Obi Wan Kenobi series officially announced, they pulled out Ewan McGregor at D23 last summer, and they were like, he finally was like, I'm gonna play Obi Wan Kenobi again, and that made everybody lose their mind, and it really just felt like kind of a win for Star Wars. Then Kathleen Kennedy was like, yeah, we also have all the scripts written for the series, and we're gonna be ready to go here pretty soon. Well, turns out that, yeah, they might have had the scripts written, but they weren't approved scripts from Kathleen Kennedy, and she ended up firing the writer over creative differences. One of the things that excites me about this Obi-Wan series, though, and gives me hope, is that Deborah Chow has signed on to direct the entire series, so that's really, really good. But anyway, going back to that, though, the fact that they fired the writer, it was a bad business decision to announce this thing when you weren't happy with where it was going in the first place, and to say that the scripts are written, we're going to be, it just doesn't make any sense. So, and I've heard multiple rumors about this Obi-Wan thing. I've heard rumors that the original scripts only had Obi-Wan Kenobi in this show for the last 2 seconds. I've heard rumors that the writer got fired because Kathleen Kennedy is no longer running that part of Lucasfilm, that they actually brought in Kevin Feige to executive produce the series. And that would actually make a lot of sense, because there was a report a long time ago that Feige would be doing something related to Star Wars, but, it could be Obi-Wan very well, and I actually think that would be... I don't think that... excuse me. I don't think that running Star Wars and running Marvel are the exact same things, but I think that Kevin Feige can still come over from Marvel and do a really damn good Obi-Wan Kenobi series. If that's the thing that he's kind of overseeing, then yeah. I don't know. I just feel like his sensibilities for Obi-Wan would be really, really great. I think that Obi-Wan has... I think we have a lot to learn about Obi-Wan, and I think we're going to learn a lot about that here, and I think it's like... The reason I say this is like, because it's not an origin story of Obi-Wan, although we might learn a lot more about his origins in this, but because it takes place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, right? So it's not an origin story per se, but it is kind of an origin, of this kind of beaten down sort of Obi Wan, and Kevin Feige kind of strives at that, right? Overseeing the Marvel stuff, right? And so if he oversaw this project, um, just kind of being like the guy that who runs Marvel, he does like origin stories all the time. And it's not an origin story, but it is in the sense that this is the first time we're seeing kind of this beaten down Obi Wan, this Obi Wan who's lost everything, right? So we got to watch him evolve into that kind of skin. The other reason this makes sense that it's starting production next month is because Hayden Christensen, there was that report a little bit ago that he'd be popping up in the series, and so it would make sense that they're just making moves over there, right, to get this thing started as soon as possible. Um, and I don't know what Hayden Christensen's role is gonna have to, or is gonna be. It's gonna have to be flashbacks. You could have him in a Darth Vader suit, but I don't know the reason. I mean, Pedro Pascal wasn't in that Mandalorian suit for the entirety of the Mandalorian series, so uh, Hayden Christensen would not have to be in the Vader suit necessarily, even though he is Vader. But his primary role or job would be to play Vader before Vader, and if this is taking place when he's already Vader, then it doesn't make sense for Hayden Christensen to be there as Vader. But more or less maybe some flashbacks, and I would put $100 down that Liam Neeson shows up in this as a Force ghost, because if you remember the ending of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda said, "Training I have for you" to Obi Wan when he was talking about Qui Gon, right? He was saying that Qui Gon had learned the path to immortality, because Qui Gon is the first Jedi, to our knowledge, that had learned the path to immortality at this point. And it was kind of cliffhangery in that way at the ending of Revenge of the Sith. So I guarantee Qui Gon shows up, trains Obi Wan, and gets him into kicks him into a new gear. That's my prediction for this series. Is that obviously we know nothing about it, but Obi Wan. We're gonna see him in the desert. He's kind of beaten down. Qui Gon's going to appear to him. He's gonna train him, kick him into a new gear. And then we're gonna see Obi Wan just, finally, he's going to probably try to turn Vader back to the good side one last time. I say that, but it's the last time we're probably ever going to see as an audience Obi Wan and Vader fighting. But really, it's the second time he's done it, and then the one in New Hope would be the third time since it takes place in between there. Anyway, excited to see Ewan McGregor reprise the role, and it'd be cool to see Hayden Christensen in the series, regardless of what he's going to do. I'm just kind of excited he gets to be a part of it and given a second chance. We can go into his acting and all that, but I do think that everybody deserves a second chance to do good work. And Hayden Christensen is still a part of the Star Wars legacy, so I'd be excited to see him in that. But I'm getting off track here. The point I was actually going to try to make in the very beginning when I started talking about this Obi-Wan thing is, when the writer had been fired, I think Ewan McGregor was asked about it, and he had said that, basically that the series was getting moved to January, and that was pretty much the last thing we'd heard about it, other than this Hayden Christensen report, that rumor that he might show up in this. So, um, yeah, it's just, it was a real big surprise to hear that they're going to start next month, and I'm thinking that Disney's like, hey, we can start production on this, maybe get it out sooner. This is just exactly what people need during COVID-19, and maybe what we need too. It would be a win-win, because everybody's going to drop everything that they're doing at the moment just to watch Obi-Wan. It's just a fact. It's one of the most anticipated shows coming soon, if not the most anticipated show coming up, like, ever. So I think everybody's going to want to tune into Obi-Wan. The second everybody sees that trailer, it's with Ewan McGregor in it, it's going to be insane. So this is exciting. I'm thinking maybe this is unrealistic, but I'm thinking maybe they can get this thing out by March. That'd be pretty cool. That's just a guess if they start next month. So, anyway, how excited is everybody for Obi-Wan? Let me know in the comment section below. And I would appreciate that. Anyway, so moving on. Our next story here is that Oh, one more Star Wars thing. That's right. Mandalorian season 3 is going to actually come out in October. So this report is saying that basically, and that makes sense that they're going to just go into production with Obi Wan. You could go into production with Mandalorian season 3, no problem. And yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's cool. I don't think we're ever really going to be have a shortage of Star Wars ever again. It's kind of odd because initially, Star Wars and Marvel weren't necessarily competing, for like a title or anything like that. But the thing was is that like with Marvel, the original plan with Star Wars was to become like Marvel and start doing 2 movies a year, and then um as successful as the Star Wars movies were, I mean, 4 out of 5 of the new movies had made $1 billion. Don't get me wrong, um, but they had one tank, and that was the problem. When Solo: A Star Wars Story dropped in May, which was one of the dumbest decisions the studio ever made, I think. When it dropped in May, it flopped, right? For a variety of different reasons, that movie flopped. I'm not going to get into why it flopped, but it did. It was the one of the 5 movies that they had done that Disney had done that flopped. So it was kind of this thing um where people, yeah, it was kind of this thing where people, um I can't think of the word. Uh People were like they pushed back on Star Wars after that. I mean, there was such a split in the fan base, and that was because of Solo. That was because of the Last Jedi movie. Um. Anyway, so we couldn't get to a year, and then we just for me, I was missing Star Wars for that good long while between the time of Solo and the Rise of Skywalker. I know everybody's got different feelings on this new Star Wars era of Star Wars, and I get it, but but then like we got Mandalorian, then shortly after Rise of Skywalker, and just all this new content started coming out again, and I think we've been at a pretty steady pace, and I think it's interesting that with these new TV series and stuff that we're getting all this Star Wars, but Marvel on the other hand is like kind of struggling at this point because they do movies, they have TV shows coming out. Don't get me wrong. We'll get to that in a second. But the thing with Marvel is they used to have like 2 3 movies coming out a year. With the pandemic now, they don't, which makes me sad as well. Don't get me wrong. But now the thing is with Star Wars is that they're going to move into production. They're really moving in a direction, I feel, where it's going to be TV show, TV show, or streaming series, whatever you want to call them anymore. And I think it's a really good direction for them because now they can just get Star Wars content out all the time. We're gonna have Mandalorian in October, or Mandalorian season 2 in October. Obi Wan maybe probably at this point now before the second season of Mandalorian. So we'll have Mandalorian, Obi Wan, Mandalorian, and it's gonna be at a pretty steady pace that we're gonna start getting Star Wars content. So anyway, point is that makes me pretty happy, and yeah, I'm excited. So, do you guys think it's a little too soon to greenlight Mandalorian season 3 at this point when we haven't even seen season 2? But let me know what you think in the comments below. Oh, the one thing I was gonna say though, um, we'll see. I don't know how many cooks Disney wants to have in the kitchen right now. It's all owned by Disney, but we'll see. But I actually think that it could mean that they could start moving into production, which they already started production on a couple of them, I think, but they could really start finishing them, some of these seasons, in if they wanted to. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and appreciate that very much. Anyway, moving on. So, one of the things I want to talk about is Zac Efron being cast in Three Men and a Baby. I don't want to dive into this much because it's been a long time since I've seen the first Three Men and a Baby. I could say that I think it sounds like a fun idea, but I wanted to make sure I brought it up here because I want to know what you guys think of that casting. And the question is, I wanted to know who you guys thought would make um, for the other two men in Three Men and a Baby. Um, Personally, let me think here. If you're getting Zac Efron, I'm trying to think who would make the other two men in Three Men and a Baby. Um, huh. It's a really good question. I hadn't really asked myself this before I wanted to pose the question to everybody. I'm really just curious to see what everybody else thinks. I'm trying to think of actors in his age group that are like really, really good, but like that are realistic to get. Well, they don't have to be realistic to get for this. Let's have some fun. You know what actually casts as the other two men if I had my dream choice? Robert Pattinson and Ryan Gosling. Those are like the two best new actors working right now. Um so yeah, it'd be a movie starring Zac Efron, Ryan Gosling, and Robert Pattinson. I'd probably substitute any of those guys for Donald Glover right now, but if it came down to it, but those are the three guys that I would cast. If Zac Efron has to come in the package, then I guess it's Robert Pattinson and Ryan Gosling. If Zac Efron doesn't have to come with it, it's Ryan Gosling, Robert Pattinson, and Donald Glover. I think that would actually be a lot of fun. Not a realistic choice, and they probably would never do the remake for this. But yeah, but this remake in the comments below. I want to hear all of your choices for the other two men, though. So make sure that you put that in the comments there too. We could have a lot of fun with this. Anyway, guys. So this last story here, and it's probably going to be a shorter show than usual today. I apologize about that, but this one's actually really excites me. Is a story about the Death on the Nile trailer that surprisingly dropped. Pretty cool stuff, guys. So, um, there was an underrated movie back in 2018 called The Murder on the Orient Express, and this was directed by Kenneth Branagh. And I understand that there was an original Murder on the Orient Express, and that movie's very good. I've seen it a couple of times now. And I've also read the book Murder on the Orient Express, so I understand it's a story that people know and they felt like it did not need a remake, but I actually found this remake to be very compelling, and to me it was probably the most underrated movie of 2018 when it came out. I loved it, and I've been waiting ever so long for a sequel to happen, or a trailer, or any glimpse of a sequel, because I love watching Kenneth Branagh play Hercule Poirot. Hercule Poirot. That's it. That's the best way to pronounce it, I think. Anyway, I'm not French, but he he really is an awesome character, and it's so much fun to watch Kenneth Branagh play that guy. Um, and he gives a really good performance in Murder on the Orient Express. Anyways, Death on the Nile trailer comes out, and boy, am I excited. I love this cast. You got Gal Gadot, Army Hammer, just tons of awesome people. Kenneth Branagh is back to star in and direct the film. Uh, Boy, did this trailer give me goosebumps when I watched it. And then, like, oh my god, just the reveal of seeing him again. I like how they build up to that. Um, it just, oh my gosh. If you guys have not seen the new Murder on the Orient Express, please watch it. It is so good, I'm telling you. I think it's underrated. But I know like a lot of people did not like it, but I really really love this movie, I'm so excited we're finally going to see Hercule Poirot back in action, because he really really is amazing. I love Kenneth Branagh in the role, and it looks like this one's just going to be as dark and intense, and oh, so good. I'm excited to see Gal Gadot do something really different though with this. That's one of the things that excites me. But yeah, boy, am I excited for this movie. So I love Agatha Christie as an author, so it gets me excited even more to see when we can see some of her work being adapted into screenplays here, and it's a lot of fun. So check out this trailer. What did you guys think of the trailer? Maybe you weren't a fan of the first one, but you're like, this one looks pretty good. Maybe you thought it looked just as bad as the first movie. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think. I know that the first movie was Murder on the Orient Express was what they would call a talkie, but we don't really get a lot of those these days, and This is definitely one of them, and it was a talkie, but with a really cool murder mystery woven through it, and boy, it was a lot of fun. So, let me know what you guys thought of Murder on the Orient Express in the comments below, and how excited are you for Death on the Nile? Probably not at all. Anyway, um, I've been Don Martino. I do appreciate you guys watching. We do have to wrap up here. But we will do the review of Kingsman on Saturday, so look forward to that. And I thank you guys for tuning in so much. Please leave your feedback in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel, like the channel, everything I just said in the beginning of the show, and then just make sure to also follow me on social media. It will be in the description below. Also, want to remind everybody, we are on Spotify now, so if you have a Spotify account, or even if you don't want to make a Spotify account, you can go and listen to the audio only version of the show on Spotify. And also, Anorax has a lot of really great short form content for you guys to check out too now. We take a lot of clip outs from this show, and you guys can check it out on just in various sections in the channel. So just be sure to check that stuff out, guys. And we did a lot of fun clip outs. We clipped out the game that Logan and I played last week, and if you just wanted to go and rewatch that part, it's there. It's clipped out for you, so you guys could check that out all here on the channel. I thank you guys very much for tuning in. I've been Don Martino, and I will see you guys on Saturday. Bye-bye.